the Mindset RX podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain a champ's mindset. Before I get into today's show, let me just mention again the group that I run, Mindset for Functional Athletes. And this is essentially, I say support group, but that makes it sound a bit like Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a way for you to keep growing as an athlete in a tribe of people, a community of people who are supportive and who understand the mindset side of things. And not only am I a member and continuing to support everyone in there, but there are now 10 qualified Mindset RX coaches in there, and 12 other people who are on the way through their coaching cert. So you're in good hands if you're there. And also it's just a really nice way to connect with people who are on the journey to becoming a better athlete, who are inside of the CrossFit world and who are outside of your box, because it's quite useful to have that outside connection. So that Facebook group is Mindset for Functional Athletes, and all you have to do is get on Facebook, search it, and there'll also be a link in the comments section or the notes section or the description section, depending on which device you're using of this podcast. So let's get on with today's show. Even today's show is brought about because I've had 5 conversations with CrossFitters in the last 7 days, and all different CrossFitters, and they've all said almost the same thing. And these are 5 CrossFitters who I'm either working with, I was about to work with, or I've just been chatting to, or like just out and about and hosting seminars and that kind of stuff. And they've all said, I don't know whether it's just the time of year or whatever, but they've all said something along the lines of, I feel overwhelmed and anxious and fearful, and I feel like I've got no hours in the day, but I've got everything to do, and I'm trying to balance the whole of who I'm trying to become. And they're usually this type A personality, in as much as they're bright and they're intelligent and they achieve most of the time what they set out to achieve, but they get to a point somewhere around 30, like a few years either side, but somewhere around 30 usually. And they realize all their success has come at a bit of a cost. And that cost is essentially their mental health. And it comes about as anxiety, essentially. And this anxiety is crippling for some people. There were 2 people I spoke to who have broken down in tears on a regular basis because they just can't handle where they're at. And this isn't in relation to CrossFit. Let me just say, it isn't in relation to CrossFit, but it bleeds into their performance. And this is why general mindset always has to come ahead of specific mindset, because if it doesn't, you're A, living a life that you're not very happy with, and B, your performance is going to suck, because you cannot perform at your best when your subconscious mind is fearful for its life and is overworked and overstressed and just not in a happy place. And this is really, there's not much of a message to this or a how to, or even like a guidelines for progress with this. But there is this. And that's knowing that you're not alone, knowing that there are other people in a very similar situation. And what's more, and probably more important, is there's other people in a similar situation who have come out the other side feeling fantastic. The place that I start with all my athletes who are doing this is with observing their inner athlete. Because getting their fears and the thoughts and the emotions out onto paper is a way of separating yourself from those thoughts. And quite often we push them away because if we let them like filter into our mind throughout the day, they would cripple us. But what we really want to do is allow them to allow them to get onto paper so we can observe them. And when we can observe them, we can begin to change them slowly, and we can see our story and hear our story and eventually change our story. And by doing that, we change our outcome entirely. So here's how you observe your inner athlete. And by the way, like, this is why I love the Mindset RX system, because this is going to work. This tactic, this tool is going to work whether you are at the CrossFit Games, at the CrossFit Regional, well, not the CrossFit Regionals anymore, considering what's going to happen. But whether you're at the CrossFit Games, whether you're at the CrossFit, whatever's the next stage, whatever happens with CrossFit, or whether you are just training to become a better version of yourself, or whether you're right at the beginning of your journey, this tool works because human psychology is essentially the same, and there are principles which govern the laws of psychology and philosophy. So here's how you do it: observing your inner athlete. And I didn't expect to go down this route, but I think it's a good way to go. Sit down with no distractions for 5 to 10 minutes, preferably in the morning when that mental chatter is loudest, when it's easiest to tap into. And you begin writing down your thoughts, and you begin writing down what you feel, and your emotional state of mind, and your physical state, and the thoughts which plague you, or the thoughts which are usually ones which you suppress, and you just write them out. And you don't stop your pen moving, and you allow it to flow over paper, and it just hopefully kicks out what you're internally thinking, and it gets your internal landscape into an external world that you can observe. So what that means is that we're essentially streaming your consciousness down to paper. And when we do this, and by the way, you don't want to edit it, you don't want to redact anything, you don't want to limit what you say, you certainly don't want to hide away from anything negative. Anything which comes up in your mind, you stream out to paper, and do not stop your pen from moving. And this is the foundation of most journaling routines, and it's where I start every athlete working, because if you embody this, and if you do it on a regular basis, you'll begin to be much more aware of your thoughts. You'll become a much more aware athlete. And someone in the coaching cert just said to me, I'm amazed at how much more aware I am over the last week. And just give that a second to sink in. You've changed your awareness over a week. Imagine what doing this for 6 months could do, or a year could do. And if you're in that anxious state of mind that I was talking about, then this is the best way to get around it. If you are feeling stressed and overwhelmed, this is the best way to get around it, because it gives you perspective, and that perspective is huge. And you definitely don't want to analyze it to begin with. You want to give it 14 days or so since it's been out on paper before you step back and look at it, and that gives you a bit more perspective. But anyway, if you enjoyed the show, let me know. I will be interacting in the Facebook group a lot more. And by the way, this is a super late announcement. It is currently Wednesday the 29th of August. On September the 1st, I'm hosting a seminar or a workshop, the Mindset RX workshop, in CrossFit Causeway in Northern Ireland. So if you're listening to this in Northern Ireland, then I'm coming for you. Tickets are still available, and it's going to be a really cool... I did a seminar there last year, or a workshop there last year, and it was one of my favourite places that I've hosted, just because it's a really cool gang of people. So if you're interested in attending that seminar, you can find more information by going on to Eventbrite and searching for Mindset RX, or if you are just looking to get a bit more involved in the world of Mindset RX and to kind of pursue a better state of mind and a better athletic career, or a better athletic performance, then you can find the Facebook group Mindset for Functional Athletes on Facebook, obviously. Also, don't forget to follow me at Tom Foxley on Instagram, and you can find the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/mindsetrxd. So I'll speak to you all very soon.